Do you ever feel like you are in an insane amount of digital debt when it comes to your business? Digital debt meaning you have all these platforms and subscriptions that you pay for and you see the invoices come in every month, but you're not really sure if you're actually using those platforms. If that's you, then today's video is for you. We're gonna help you eliminate that today and do a little audit of your business to simplify this year. So I have found in general that one of the biggest things that we do as entrepreneurs is overcomplicate things. And when I'm going through a season where I feel like my expenses and my business is overcomplicated, what I'm really focused on is simplifying. So I'm here today at Office Depot, keys in hand, so that we can do something that's really going to simplify where our expenses are going, what we're spending money on, and what we're focusing on. So my goal this year is to be an eagle and not an ostrich, meaning I want to get way ahead of problems in my business. I want to see the big picture. I want to take my own role as a digital CEO and really be able to address things from a clear perspective, see things as they are, and not get caught in the weeds. I don't want to be an ostrich that puts my head in the ground and I wait for problems to go away. One of the things that we can do to get in this position is just take a pulse of what's in our business and simplify. And obviously, to have a business, we need money. We need it to run and we need to keep that money. And so one of the things that we can do to really get a big picture vision of our business is to know our numbers and know what we need to spend every single month on tools and what's coming in. What's coming in is usually pretty clear to us, but when it comes to what's going out, that can be a little tricky sometimes. So low-key, I have not shopped at an actual office supply store in a really long time. And I forgot how intoxicating the smell is. I'm probably gonna stick with this bad boy right here. Also, I just wanna warn anybody that gets the 2 for $15 deal at Office Depot of that printer paper. It's heavy, okay? So if you wanna get swole, it's perfect. If you're in this position and you're just kind of overwhelmed and confused, then that's where we're gonna actually print this stuff out, and we're gonna print out our bank statements and really be able to highlight line by line what it is that we're spending money on. Where are things coming out where we're like, I don't even know what this expense is. I need to look this up. I need to make a call and really be able to do a proper audit of your business. Think about it like you do a credit card versus cash, right? Like there's something that happens in your brain when you spend cash versus when you swipe a credit card, which is that your brain registers it as more real. And if all of your online expenses are going through an account that you don't audit in an analog way regularly, then they might not feel real to you, right? And so it's actually really good to print these things out and go through them line by line. So to know which expenses you should keep versus which ones you should ditch, I have a little illustration for you next. We're gonna look at our online business like a sandwich, and we are going to build on exactly what we need to really cut down to the foundations, what we actually need in our business, and what are just like the fluffy, fun things that just make it fun for us to run, okay? So first of all, we have our foundations, right? That's like our bread. We have things like our website hosting, an email list software, some sort of payment system, so a way to get paid. And it might also include things that you need every day to actually like run operations. So something like a ClickUp and Asana, something that is like a task management software for you. Now, some of these things can be free, and some of these things you might have to give a little bit, right? So things like ClickUp, Asana, task management, a lot of times you can find that for free. You can cut back to a notebook if you're not managing multiple people. You could really like eliminate some of that. However, there are also things like your website hosting. You're gonna need that no matter what, and it's gonna cost money no matter what. Server space is not free, so it's very unlikely you're gonna find a free website host. Things like your email list, it's, actually costs money to send emails. So you're going to have to pay for an email list provider. And things like a payment processor. Now, anything that you really need to run the day-to-day in your business, like to provide the best possible service or the best possible product for your customers, this is gonna be the meat of your business sandwich. These are the kinds of things that you really need to improve your product or product experience. These might be tools like, you know, your design suite. If you're a designer, like Canva Pro or Slack or Figma. These might be things, you know, like your bookkeeping software, if you're a bookkeeper, things that actually help you deliver the product or service that you are offering and really making it as great as it can be. That is the meat of your sandwich. Now, the reason why it's the meat and not the foundation is because these are also normally things that you can get free plans of and you can find ways around, because ultimately you have the skill to deliver that service. And sometimes the platform doesn't necessarily matter. For instance, I can design a great website, whether it's on Figma, Adobe XD, or Canva. Like, I can use any of those softwares interchangeably to create a great product. So, you know, I actually personally have a multi-six-figure design business, and I don't have a paid version of Figma, for example. So that's why this is like a meat of your business, but you might not need the upgraded version yet. All right, our next layer, and I'm using graded because I don't have beautiful slices, is going to be our cheese layer, which is anything that we need to run the marketing of our business. And I am making this the cheesy layer because marketing is cheesy. I'm making it the cheese layer because it's something that is fun and scrumptious and delicious, but there are plenty of businesses that run off of word of mouth. So this is like a little fluffier. You don't necessarily need it to make up your sandwich. However, I would definitely recommend in figuring out what are the things that are driving revenue to your business, that are driving leads to your business, and making sure that you invest in those. Especially if you're wanting to grow, you really need to make sure that you're putting aside 10 to 20% of your business's budget towards marketing. And this doesn't even necessarily mean running ads. I mean, I know I personally am somebody who works a lot off of referral marketing. You know, a lot of what I do in my agency is based on relationships. And so what I invest in are things like masterminds, communities, going to in-person conferences and events. That's where a lot of my personal marketing goes. So even like open up your mind to what that could mean, and that could be a really great way to justify those kinds of expenses if you're finding value in those areas, but maybe evaluate how much you're putting into other streams that you think that you have to do, but aren't actually driving leads into your business. And lastly, we're just adding our mustard layer. Now, our condiment layer here, these are things that are fun to have, they're nice to have, they impress, but they don't actually add a ton of value to our business in terms of return on investment. So for instance, I invested in a tool last year called Video Ask. And if you go to my website right now, if you go to thelaunchpeople.com, you'll see on some of the pages, they have a little talk bubble. It's a video of me and it pops up and it's like, hey, if you have questions about this or that service, I will answer them. But let me tell you something about that feature on my website. I've gotten a lot of questions about it. And what's funny is that I've gotten a lot of questions about it and a lot of people have pointed it out and said, hey, that's so cool that you have that on your website. I love that. No one interacts with it. In the year and a half that I've used that tool, I've had one inquiry come in through it. One. A lot of people point it out as something that dazzles them. They think it's a cool feature, but they don't actually use it in the way that it's supposed to be used, which is to ask questions and so that I can go ahead and try to close them as a lead. And at however many $100s it is per year, I don't think that's worth it to me, unfortunately. So unless something crazy happens in the next couple months, I am considering that my condiment fluff for my sandwich, and I'm gonna be canceling it soon. Funny enough, I already had this video planned and I was just on a client call with a client who wanted me to help him with this process for his business. You know, he has an actually pretty successful online business. They have a substantial team and they're just trying to get a really good gauge of like, hey, what tools do we still use? What don't we use? Especially when it comes to tech. So if that's you, if you're a little bit more established and you have a lot more things to look at, I'm going to show you how to do this process digitally. Or if you're just like a digital, not as jazzed on office supplies person as I am, then check this part out. So I have this little present for you, and this is perfect for anyone who already has their expenses or their passwords or their platforms listed on a Google Sheet. Because if you already have those things on a Google Sheet, then you can go ahead and copy paste them from a Google Sheet that I have. I'll hit expand the table. And then what I'm going to do is just write down the amount that I have, and then the billing frequency, importance. So we're gonna put these in our different categories here, and then our status. And then we're just gonna do the same thing. So 7 is the non-essential, canceled. And we're just gonna go through like that and just fill out our different plans here. Once you're all done going through these, what I would do is I would look at your foundational and delivery columns and figure out, okay, are there cheaper ways to do these things? Do we need to have both a Google Drive and a Dropbox? Can we consolidate down to one of these? Things like that. So really just more so think about consolidating, but you'll probably want to keep the functions of these things. For instance, DigitalOcean is a hosting company, but evaluate, like, are you using it? Could you use GoDaddy for hosting or another website host? The way that I would look at marketing is whether or not it is necessary, if it's something that you're still using. There's a lot of marketing tools that get replaced or outpaced by other more native all-inclusive tools. So I would just more so think, okay, can I delete this or consolidate? And then non-essential, I would think, okay, does this actually add value to my life? Or is this something that is just something fluffy that I don't really need? I would consider these more for deletion than anything else, but really you're gonna need the functions of these more. And then these are, you don't need the functions of them, but you can delete them. And this might make your sorting through a little bit easier. I hope this helped you consolidate your digital life. And if you have any questions about this process, even like expenses or platforms that I'd recommend, definitely feel free to leave them below. And if you love content like this, then also let me know, and please subscribe to Launch with Chris. We'll see you next time.